If you ever find yourself adventuring, and there are many areas to avoid, one such area that you should highly avoid is the twisted domain of entrails and breathwood known as the Forest of Death. You see, the forest itself breathes air into the world with the breathwood trees, giant hole-filled mushrooms that inhale and exhale like a pair of lungs. They exhale this beautiful rich oxygen and they inhale all the dust, sand, gas, fumes. So you might say, well, why should I avoid such a land? In a hell-ridden landscape where lava and dust storms are rampant, I would love to live in a safe environment for once. Well, it isn't the land that's the issue, nor is it how the forest gained its name, the Forest of Death. You see, long ago, before the banished race were fully settled in the demon realm that they had been casted into, there were many pioneers. These adventurers decided that instead of building a home and forcibly taming the hellish landscape to suit their needs, they instead believed that the land must have some refuge, a place safe for them to inhabit without restrictions. After all, in our own world, there's oases and deserts. Of course, many of the people who joined the pioneers were not solely in it for the adventure. In fact, a good portion, a little over half of them, were simply the misfortunate. Those who had no relationship ties, those who were indebted, those who had no skill to market themselves. These outcasts were left with no option but to join the pioneers in searching for a home, a paradise where all are welcome. Venturing out into the waste, the stories of the South, a fabled demon city that bands of warriors were sieging, sounded way too dangerous for the mainly citizen populace. And the East, where a massive giant and his giant cultists who eat people, was a little too dangerous as well. The West had a demon and banished city that was slowly growing, but that was way too heretical to think of. Living and coinciding with demons? No. So north was the only direction that remained. Following the path of the woods, the fresh air gave revitalizing vigor to the adventurers. "We must be on the right track," the pioneers would shout to their misfortune crowd. It was upon exiting the forest that they saw a beautiful landscape. It was perfect for farming, lacked any sort of demons, dangers, and natural disasters. Here, 3 villages were founded: Otkin, Adarab, and Utalk. These 3 villages became a den for the adventurers as the people settled down and started building with the wood from the mushroom trees, leading to the prosperity that many had wished for. A society grew. The 3 villages started trading the breathwood logs to other banished cities. This caused a swath of wealth to fill their pockets. The once pioneers became great landlords, each with their own designated house, seal, and sigil. Every adventurer has since stopped traveling. Even leaving their own domains became too much work for the landlord pioneers. Everyone was reaching profits that none had ever seen before. That is, until the profits became too much. With such an abundance of wealth filling the pockets of the people, things began to spiral. Otkin designed more efficient woodcutting techniques, mainly by chopping the trees of the other villages. Adarab designed better exporting techniques by simply destroying the other caravans. And Utalk designed better market manipulations of wood prices by simply raiding and burning the competitors' wood piles. Such conflicts saw that the 3 once prosperous villages engulfed in constant warfare with each other. And unfortunately, none cared that the squabbles of the upper classes had brought the same misfortune onto those misfortunate people as before. Stuck in a war where they lacked the skill to participate and were unable to work their jobs due to the risk of being injured, the impoverished started to become indebted. The once mighty and noble adventurers, having noticed that the slums of their villages were growing and becoming a problem to their profit margins, decided to collectively sign a peace deal where they would force these poverty-stricken people out of their lands, stripping them of food, water, and shelter. They persecuted and cast out these layabouts to the northern wastes, while they continued hiring foreign aid mercenaries to conduct their warfare. Still dreaming of the original dream, though, to find that hidden oasis in the demon realm, many of these now new outcasts went further north, now with no water, no food, and only the rags on their backs, with no skilled pioneers to lead them. Things became bleak. Starvation, disease, exhaustion swept through the refugees. As they ventured and ventured further up, a possibility had failed to enter their minds. If there are possible oases in deserts, then surely there are possible dead zones in a desert as well. And a dead zone was hit, and they had neither the knowledge nor the skill to survive it. Not only did starvation become worse and the effects of exhaustion under the constant mutating radiating sun worsen, the effects the demon realm had on the banished race began to take hold. These people started to trudge onwards, their hands falling from their arms. Their infants were born with blades for arms. These people had mutated, and as their bodies succumbed to the demon realm's influence, so too did their minds. The insanity of 1,000 years took its toll and broke these migrating people. Having spent centuries in the waste and finding nothing, the survivors gained skills that even the adventurers didn't have. They learned not only to track, but to survey the land. In a desperate fit of survival, they learned to eat each other's flesh for sustenance. Honing their fighting skills, they also became masters at hand-to-hand combat. Having been subjugated by far harsher magics of the demon realm than any other clan or tribe, these people gained a trait completely unique to themselves, that being their bones. Under such hard influence of cannibalism and chaotic magics, the bones of these people are born spongy and malleable. As such, the tribe has taken tradition in molding their youth's bone arms to unique shapes that are completely individual. Some make flat cleavers. Others make corkscrew shapes. Some go for slight variations based on clan or family shapes, but none are replicated completely, as it is tradition to stick to your individuality at all cost. For these poor people, it's all that they have left. To be true to yourself is the only material that cannot be taken away from you. It's almost a defiant stand against one's conniving neighbors, to own something that they cannot take, nor can they replicate. Discovering the way back to the civilized world, the trackers returned to the camp to tell their people the news. They found the promised oasis, and they were hell-bent on cashing the check that was promised to them all those years ago. Upon returning and finding the 3 villages that cast them out all those centuries ago, none could say what happened. None know what the full story is. People still whisper that the 3 villages still exist, but now as mere ghost towns with barely enough survivors left to keep the place occupied. Others claim that the tribe who was outcasted meted out perfect vengeance onto their betrayers, butchering and eating everyone in the 3 villages. Here, the notorious tribe named Twirl Shanks was born, through the guts of the injustice their society had conducted onto them. Either way, the tribe was now set up its camps outside and inside the forest of death, claiming that the trees are gods that demand nourishment. Here, they not only stopped all supply of wood to the banished cities, also they're conducting dangerous raids that would see entire sectors of cities get wiped out. The Twirl Shanks have many traditions, but their holidays are really the things that we should take particular note of. One scholar who managed to study them enough and subdue some for questioning found that the Twirl Shanks have two holidays. One called the Running of Trails, a once-a-year event where the entire faction of Twirl Shanks gather in the Forest of Death. They take their hostages and slaves to the mushroom tree trunks, and they impale a section of their intestines to the tree. Then they force them to run in a circle around the tree until they run out of intestines and die. If they have no slaves or hostages, then the tribe sacrifices its own members, where they gleefully rip out their own intestines and impale it to the tree, screaming in tear joy how happy they are to be sacrificed for their gods. The second holiday is far less brutal. It's simply called Exar Day. Here, the banished tribe ventures out and rewards its explorers who find new routes in the wasteland and deserts. Unlike the previous greedy pioneers, these adventurers of the Twirl Shanks share their wealth and their discoveries, making sure that the tribe as a whole benefits from the discovery. Any who are caught hiding secret passageways and get discovered get brutally maimed and killed, as the tribe fears the day of being exiled again by a member of their own tribe from becoming too greedy. Usually during this holiday, it is often seen that villages and caravans get attacked a little bit more frequently, as the tribal Twirl Shanks tend to be traveling abroad looking for new landmarks. So far, it's been 120 years since the Twirl Shanks appeared. The Forest of Death has grown in massive sizes, and the ever-present threat the Twirl Shanks present has made many cities consider declaring war to wipe them out. Unfortunately, the risk of losing far outstrips the glory of winning, for the Twirl Shanks have numbered in the hundreds of thousands, their ranks easily beating any army to date, as every single man, woman, and child is a warrior, ready to fight and die for their tribe, to take back a bloody vengeance on their very own race for their greedy lifestyle and persecution. There are some reports of magic casters in their ranks. The stories of vile mages who cast such dangerous spells like mushroom vines that shoot from the ground, impaling and sucking the blood out of their victims, and hallucinations that plague the mightiest of warriors, making them cleave their own families apart, thinking that they were Twirl Shanks. The Twirl Shanks serve as a cautionary tale, a tale of when persecuting people for their merits alone can go too far, a story where the greed of people can cause the downtrodden to become oppressors. The Twirl Shanks stand, defiant and strong, but twisted like their arm blades, riddled with evil malice for all to see. This has been the Twirl Shanks. Thank you, lads, for listening. I designed them myself, and if you wish to explore these lands to fight Twirl Shanks, or to create a character who is a Twirl Shank, then join the Discord on my YouTube channel. See you, lads, next time. Peace.